Hey guys, welcome back to the Maj Love She Said, E Love She Said YouTube channel, as well as, the talk about and discussion part 2 of the 2020 Democratic debate that happened on February 25th. So let's get right on into this. But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and definitely leave comments in the comment section, okay? Because I definitely like to hear what you guys have to say. Now, I said on the last video that we're going to start this video off with talking about race, and we're going to finish everything up in this one, okay? So this was going on. Race came up, right? And the people answered. So here we go. Now, I just learned this guy's name because at first I'm like, wait, that's not Bloomberg. I kind of got them a little confused for a second. But I'm like, his name is Steyer. Don't know where he's from, don't know what he does. But Steyer stands corrected. He was talking about, which I think Biden was talking about first, that, the reparation for slavery should be reteached for at least the last 400 years. And I know that Biden has said that first. Then Steyer definitely hopped on that bandwagon and made clear of that. It should be retaught. And I definitely would appreciate that. I'm sure a lot of people would. There's been a lot of evidence and unsaid things that we always have to go and search for on our own, or we don't get a chance to really learn about it unless we take those African history classes in college and stuff like that. Or maybe you went to all black school. I remember I went to an all black school in Lamarck, in Texas, and I mean, for the choir, we was sitting up there listening to Stevie Wonder. You know what I'm saying? There was no Mozart going on in there. It was even insane and weird for them to see me bringing a Leonardo da Vinci art piece as an artist that I admire, because everybody else did somebody black. So it would be nice. One of which ways. I definitely think there's a balance with reteaching slavery and the history of black people and how we have helped, in America. I mean, we've helped, like we've done it. We are the backbone. We are the thing that sits on America's shoulders or the rest of the body. I think on one end, it's definitely going to give us and the children heritage, which a lot of times we don't have. It's a lot of times lost, or it only goes back maybe to your great grandma, and then that's done. And there's still not a lot of knowledge sometimes when it comes to that. And that's part of, just different type of family dynamics. But I also think that, and I wanted to be careful because I don't want it to be a situation where it's kind of blackified, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want anyone to look at us and they say, oh, that's just, black stuff. We're not interested. I hope that, I don't know how to properly explain it, but I just hope that there's a nice integration that's going to come with, providing more history and facts and appreciation that I think will maybe even make, United States as a whole better and a little bit more well-rounded, and stuff like that. Black history is not just a month. It's forever and it's timeless. So no matter what they're trying to do, which brings me to my next point. So we're gonna move forward. Healthcare. Okay, so that's where we're talking about the healthcare in rural areas, personnel, and meeting the needs in rural areas and education, things like that. Declare on the war on obesity and stuff like that. Bloomberg has some things to say. Bloomberg said the banning of cigarettes and smoking in public places spread worldwide after he basically did the whole banning of smoking and not smoking in certain areas in New York City, or New York actually. The alcohol situation. And he said that's something that many states and many countries have taken, even all the way down in the Middle East, have taken into effect even in their own countries. So, as far as, obesity and making sure that there's effective plans and going after the food companies for providing not so well, food and things like that, and health regulations, things like that. He said that will be his number one thing. The president said that the president fired the main two people who would help control and regulate the situation, and that he also fired the people who sat there and would help with the coronavirus in these type of situations. So like I said in the last video, actually the video before that on the coronavirus, is, you know, he is trying to take some steps now that he's seeing that really wasn't the best decision. You know, I really wonder, could he just rehire the people that he fired? Or do you think they're not going to come back and work? I mean, this is an epidemic. I would think that they, you know, would kind of take that in consideration and quit afterwards or something like that. Like, get my money. Okay, now I'm out. And I want benefits. Just a question. Anywho. So, yeah. Now, another question is it legal or okay to want to legalize marijuana, and, you know, expend and things like that, right? So, is it okay? So the next question after that was, I got frazzled for a moment. The next question was, is it okay to legalize marijuana, right? You know, is that the next step? So quite a few of them spoke on this. Ambassador Globachov, the woman, she definitely was on board with this, and she sat there and was like, and she, you know, people should expunge the records of those who, you know, went to prison and jail and under the jail for this charge, you know. On the other hand, Bloomberg said, you know, definitely expunging the records for this is a definite must. However, Bloomberg stated very clearly that it's not really his biggest concern to, you know, just go full throttle with trying to make this legal everywhere. He said he's not trying to take it away from any of the states who have already done it, but it is a situation where he says that there, you know, he does believe that there should be more science behind it, and that needs to be done because there are signs that it may affect the slowing of the brain, which. But on a permanent note, not just on a but on a permanent note. And so, you know, he feels like there should be more research. It's not anything that he's rushing to do. It's not immediate or life-threatening. So, you know, who cares? I agree, funny enough, with Bloomberg. It's not a need. It's not the end of the world whether or not it's legal. Well, okay, I changed my mind. As I'm saying this out loud, if you're going to expunge the records of people who have, you know, been in prison and are still going to jail over this, then yes, you need to just make it legal. It is that type of situation because they're already talking about how the prisons, mostly the like the little regular jails, are being overcrowded and things like that, and there's also abuse and mistreatment going on in them. So I mean, yeah, you should go ahead and make that. If this is, it's like one can't balance without the other. So I don't agree with Bloomberg. I changed my mind, and you guys witnessed it. I do agree with Ambassador Globachov, which, you know, by her saying, you know, definitely expunging the records, but as well as providing treatment plans for, you know, addicts and being able to get you back on your feet, especially having lived a certain lifestyle. And also going through those same records. It's not just about the marijuana, like, oh, maybe your first charge is marijuana, but your second two were robbery and theft. You know, you got to do out whatever time you were given for that time. Now, I do wonder, like, you know how different charges are worth a certain amount of time in jail or prison, and, you know, and things like that, or house arrest. Well, I am wondering, say if, you know, you just take the marijuana part off of it, does that reduce the time and years that, you know, have been put on this person's sentence, or does that still not get affected? So I do wonder if that's going to be like a thing or not. Sanders said, you know, definitely, you know, Sanders said that he feels like it should definitely be legalized, but he was also saying that instead of allowing these big corporatized people to sell these drugs, give black people and whoever else, but but give the drug dealers an opportunity to legally sell this stuff if this is what you like doing. So you don't got to keep getting caught up in mess. And that's all I'm always trying to say, that it's like, just do the legal thing so you don't got to get caught up in the illegal thing. You want a gun? Okay, well, if you know that you got a record and you're not allowed to have them, okay, if your homies ain't got one, let them have them. You know what I'm saying? Like, buy a gun for them. You get a gun. You get a gun. Whatever. Same thing. It's like, stop putting yourselves in positions to where you just keep getting caught up with the stupid stuff of the law. Then you get mad. Oh man, they against me. No, they're not against you. You knew you couldn't do this, that, and third. And instead of you just being like, okay, I can't, you decided to do whatever the heck you wanted to do and got caught. That's it. That's the only problem, is that's why you mad, is because you got caught. And now that doesn't look better for you. So, same thing with this. Become a legal drug dealer, not an illegal drug dealer, if this is your passion. Nothing wrong with selling drugs. Pharmaceuticals does it all the time. So we're going to move forward. Okay. Now, we were talking about, the coronavirus, in my coronavirus video, but it was also talking about the 2,700 deaths globally for the coronavirus, and things like that. Sanders said that I was telling you guys in the last video, Sanders said that, it should end in like 2 months and stuff like that. That's just a hypothesis that he got from some type of worker person, but it's not confirmed. How can they help with the coronavirus? Well, or any type of sickness and illness? First off, climate change, right? A lot, just like I was talking about with the up and down of the temperatures on the thermostat. It's like 1 minute my armpits are sweating, the next minute I'm like, I'm cold in my arms. Next minute, I turn the heat back up, but I just turned it down a little bit. Now I'm sitting there, wiping my nose. Those things, climate change takes a big effect in things, as well as international cooperation. Now, on this international cooperation, I was very interested because, as it's been said, Trump has just, messed it all up, right? I'm trying to keep it PG. But he's just messed it all up, right? And so the thing is that, there needs to be some other things taken in effect when, So Elizabeth Warner seems to me to be very much so wanting to have allies and regain allies because, that's, what Trump has just really messed up, right? And I get her point. I definitely agree with her point about staying out of the Middle East's problem with the back and forth between whose land it is and whose land it's not and things like that. Let them settle it and become a friend if they need you, kind of thing, right? However, the thing is that the world is very big and you're dealing with communists, dictators, and all these other things like that. And you can't agree or be friends with everyone. You can be cool, but you can't be friends. And I hope that she's not going towards that route, because right now that's what it's seeming like, is that she's trying to be more of a friend rather than, somebody who's making the decision. It's like, you got to pick one. You can't make friends with everyone. And that's where Sanders, everybody says that he's a little too radical. Not as radical as Trump, but radical enough. And I'm okay with that in a sense, because it's like, well, he's not trying to make friends, but he's just trying to do his needed. That's just pure point blank. And so that is a concern that I have, even with the international cooperation of things. Now, as far as, sicknesses, illnesses go, well, there has to be definitely a situation where everyone needs to come together for humanity's sake. And I do agree with that, getting the NTH people and whoever else involved in this, right? Now, now, the last topic that I'm going to talk about is the military topic. So there was a question asking about, what's going to happen and all that stuff and how they're going to deal with military actions and stuff like that. Warner said, it's a situation where they need to make allies and bring their military out. Military is what, as she said, should only act on military based things. If it's not a military need and stuff like that, because what America is needing and stuff is firepower and things like that. And she said, you know, 3 of her family members were military. She definitely understands the being away for long periods of time, the stress that causes and stuff like that, and bring them home. So that's pretty much what Elizabeth Warner was talking about, and things like that. I definitely agree to a certain extent. You know, they definitely should be home, and I think that maybe could reduce the whole PTSD that they get so much from being in an environment. I definitely understand sometimes when you don't always want to be, or maybe you just, you know, thought you were going for a job, but staying long periods of time in a different country is not always the most enjoyable for everybody, and it can actually be very stressful on top of whatever daily things that you have to endure in the wars and the guns and all these things like that. So definitely being back home, and, you know, being more safe and doing training back in the U.S. and, you know, being near your family, and then only acting when you need to act, when it's time to act, I think will definitely help with things. Tell me what you guys think. That's pretty much all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching the 2020 debate from the Democrats video with me. Like I said, please leave comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and come back for more. Have a great day.